Hey yo, welcome in my math party people. I'm Anderson, an ASVAB coach, and I'm here to help you succeed. So go ahead and enjoy this nice 2-hour class for free for you, where we go over geometry word problems and word problems that take more than one step, where you actually have to think about the steps behind the problem, planning things out. That way you can be more confident at the end of the day. And so, if you'd like to join a free class and get a free practice test, you can feel free to look at the description of the video. And also, if you'd like to join the full program, where you can get all of the classes, all the support you need until you pass, and all the practice that you need to raise your confidence, hey, I got your back. So go ahead and check out the link in the description of the video, or you can reach out to me directly, so that way I can help you raise your score. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, and let's taste the ASVAB. I'll see you on the other side. With that, let's go ahead and get started, my party people. Let's go ahead and start with a refresher of the basics here. So the perimeter of a shape is what? How would you guys describe the perimeter of a shape? And I want everybody to go ahead and participate here. So, if you're saying something that someone already said, that's okay. That's okay. Participation here is key because remember, the more you participate, the more experience you get. So I see some folks here saying the distance around the shape. Shane says the same here. Shadamon says the same. Simone, Nelia, Brittany, right on. Kevin, Ty, Peggy. Yeah, we're all agreeing there for sure. The perimeter of a shape is the distance around it. And so if you ever need a little bit of help remembering that, remember that in action movies, whenever they say secure the perimeter, typically they're saying, hey, secure the border, secure the outside. And so that is what a perimeter is. The perimeter is the outside of that shape. And in math, it's the distance around that shape. And so the perimeter of a shape is the distance around the shape. I definitely didn't give myself enough room here, but that's fine. The distance around the shape. Now, let's just have a quick little refresher here in terms of area. So again, let's use English here. Plain old English, not textbook definitions. If the perimeter of a shape is the distance around it, how can we kind of categorize, the area of a shape? How can we categorize the area of said shape? I'm going to draw this right here for the perimeter, and I'll just go ahead and do this here. Distance around the shape. That is perimeter, right? Like that. And I'll look up in a moment to see what you guys wrote for area. Let's see what we came up with for area. So area, let me go ahead and go up to the first person here. As always, it's Mario. So the space that a shape takes up, I like that. I like that a lot. Total space inside. Jeff said it differently, but it means the same thing. Right on. Jose, the inside of the shape. Ty, Nelia, the space inside of it. Antaja, the space inside, the mass inside the shape. Now, Bria, I wouldn't say the mass because that has to do with weight, but I see what you're saying though. The space inside of it, the inside of the shape, the space inside, the space inside, the space inside. Volume is different. Volume is going to be the three-dimensional space that an object takes up. So area is the space that a shape takes up. Volume is the space that an object takes up. So an object meaning something that's like three-dimensional, like this Apple or this Magic Mouse, Apple Mouse, whatever you want to call it, or the space inside of this water bottle, or the space that this phone takes up. Area would be just the space of the screen or the space of the front part of this sheet of paper. So there's a little bit of a difference, right? There's a little bit of a difference, but area is the space of a flat shape. Volume is the space that an object like us, like people or things, take up. And so here the area of a shape is the space inside of the shape. And so if I were to go ahead and redraw, this square over here, kind of draw it over here, maybe a little bigger, I can go ahead and show y'all that it would be the space inside of it, right over here. Like that. So that would be area. And so just to make sure that we're getting this all good and well, everybody go ahead, type in the chat box, got it, if that makes sense. And you know that we're starting with the basics. You know how we do things, because once we start getting into the heavy, we are going to have a lot of fun, right? But we got to make sure that we get the basics down, because remember, everybody, as easy as this might seem now, or as rudimentary of a refresher this might feel like, remember that this is all going to come back as we get to those more and more complex problems. So keep that in mind. And as always, ask questions if you need to. But hopefully that gave you enough time, because now we're going to start talking about just specific shapes. So everybody, I'm going to tell you a fact right now. A square is a rectangle. Okay, one more time. A square is a rectangle. The only difference between a square and a rectangle is that a square has all equal sides. That's it. And so to really understand what I just said, because if you're looking at me like, yo, what are you talking about? A square is a square, a rectangle is a rectangle. What are you talking about? I got you. So here's the definition, like textbook definition of a rectangle. A rectangle basically is this. It is a four-sided shape that has all right angles. So right here, right there, right there, right there. That's all a rectangle is. A shape, a four-sided shape specifically, right up there, that has all right angles. So everybody, a square is just a special case of a rectangle where you still have all right angles, but all of the sides are the same. That's it. Like, that's the only difference. All of the sides are the same. That is the only difference between a square and a rectangle. A square literally is a rectangle. The sides are just the same. That's it. Yes or no if we got that down. I'm going to do this a lot, so make sure to pay attention. Type in got it if you got it, or yes if you're good. They are all the same, all right? So let's go ahead and talk about how we're going to find the perimeter and area of each, a square and a rectangle, because I know that for a lot of us, this may feel really easy, but remember, we're going to kick it into high gear in a bit. So let's talk about perimeter of a square here real quick. So the perimeter of a square, remember that the perimeter of a square is going to be adding up all the sides. So think about it like this, ladies and gentlemen. If we have this being a side, that being a side, that being a side, and this being a side right here. Everybody, is it fair to say that the perimeter of a square is going to be side plus side plus side plus side? Yes or no? Did someone say, "Yeah, man"? I love it. But yeah, the perimeter of a square is going to be adding up all the sides. And since we have four sides, right? Side plus side plus side plus side. But everybody, do I really expect everybody all the time to be like, yo, what's the perimeter? The sides are 7. Do I expect you to say 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7? Or if it's 12, 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12, what's the easier way to say that, everybody? If you're adding the same thing 4 times, what's the easier way to do it? Kevin says multiply. Kevin, I definitely agree, man. Absolutely agree. An easy way to add the same thing a bunch of times is to multiply. And so everybody, that's why I want you to take a look at the perimeter of a square. I'm going to zoom in for a moment here. I'm going to zoom in for a quick moment. The perimeter of a square, notice how I just write here, 4 times the side. So remember that. Whenever you see the formula, the last thing I want you to do is just memorize the formula. Everybody, true or false? The ASVAB is not about memorizing formulas. It's about knowing how to use them. Very true, right? The last thing we want to do is get burned. So this is the part of that process of really understanding what you're looking at. Because up next, let's talk about the area. Everybody, for a rectangle, the area is length times width, or base times height, whatever you want to say, but length times width, right? Cool. And now remember, we just said that a square is a rectangle. All the sides are just the same. And so with a square, if you call this the length and this the width, or this the length and this the width, I don't really care. Doesn't matter. But when you multiply this side by this side, that's how you get side times side. not length times width, even though it still is length times width. It just so happens that the length and the width are the same. So why are we going to call them different things? If the length and the width are the same, just call them the same thing. You can call it length times length, width times width, or side times side. Either way, it all works out. So does everybody understand that the area formula for a square and a rectangle are literally the same? We just use different words, but they're literally the same. I need you guys to understand that there. Because if you can understand that, then you're going to get a lot of what today's about. Again, the area of a square and a rectangle, they're literally the same formula. But because a square has the same sides all the way around, we don't say length times width. We just say this side times that side. That's it. That's it. Close, Frida. The perimeter times 4, but with the area, you square it. So check it out over here. So for the area of a square, it's side squared, or side times side. Multiplying something by itself twice is not 2 times that something. It's that something squared. All right. Got to make sure we have that down. Because now, perimeter and area of a rectangle, I think we can all speed up a little bit here, but I still need to make sure I'm careful. The perimeter of a rectangle, 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Is everybody here 1,000% certain why that formula works? 2L plus 2W. Are you 1,000% certain that you know why that works? Be honest. Be honest. Again, honesty is key here. Honesty is key here. Maya, go ahead.
It works because with a rectangle, you have 2 lengths and you have 2 widths. So you have to do it with 2. You get what I'm saying? 2 of each.
Oh, you're right on, Maya. Right on, Maya. Maya, that's why I love having you in class. So with that, let me go ahead and explain to everybody how this is going to work here. Because if we check this out, as Maya perfectly stated, a rectangle has 2 lengths. So we can say a length right here. And everybody, remember, with a rectangle, the opposite sides are the same. So if this is the length, this over here is also the length. This over here is also the length. And so with that said, you got 2 lengths, 1, 2. Let me go ahead and just show this right here. 2 times the length. And then over here, we got 2 widths. 1 there, 1 there. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, length, length, width, and width. We have 2 of each of them. And so that's why you're going to see 2 times the length added with 2 times the width. Is that making a little more sense for everybody out there? And so, Frida, we're going to go ahead and work backwards for that for sure. I got you. I got you. But Carrie Ann, I like that you knew that too. I love that you knew that. And so I want to make sure that we understand this, the fundamentals, because I'm telling you, like a lot of us memorize these formulas, but we don't actually know why they work. And that's the secret to getting the score you want in the ASVAB. Not the what, but the why. All right? Because they're going to throw problems that are going to be very, very, very different and confusing. And Frederick, yes, absolutely. So I think someone before you, Luiki, also said it as well. The formula for perimeter, you can also treat it like this. 2 multiplied by the length plus width. You can absolutely treat it that way. That's actually going to be really helpful when you're doing some problems with some shortcut methods. But yeah, because you have 2 of each, you can just cut it in half or double it. Excuse me. You can just add the length and the width and then just double it to get the other 2 together. So we'll talk about that for sure. And so, Jose, we'll do a class on circles. I got you. I actually have like 8 or 9 recordings of classes for that I'm going to go ahead and send you the link to if you want me to. So with that said, my party people, let's go ahead and get some warm-ups in here because these are some necessary skills to have. So Frida, we're going to talk about that. So that's not exactly it here. All right. It's not exactly it, Frida. First, I just wanted you to memorize those formulas because we're going to be talking about how to use them in a bit. But everybody, let's go ahead and start off with this first one here. The length of a square is 7. What is the area? So before we even begin, everybody type into the chat box the area of any square. What is the formula for any square? Hit me with it. Area of a square equals what? What is the area of a square? So yeah, length times width technically works because the length and the width are the same. But what other way can we say it? Side times side, side squared. That's right. That's absolutely right. Hey, Eric, I saw that you had your hand up. Keep your hand up if you want me to address you in a moment. I got you. And so with that, yeah, it's going to be side times side or side squared. Or side squared. So let's just go ahead and get to it, everybody. The side is 7. So what's 7 times 7? That's right. The area will be 49. So you can think about it like that, or you can think about it like this. Either way, it'll be 49. Again, area of a square is just multiplying the side by itself. Side squared, side times side, whatever you want to say. But there it is. Now over here, the side of a square is 12. What is the perimeter? So everybody, let's think about this logically here. Before we start with the formula, let's think about it logically. True or false? A square has 4 sides. Think about it logically. True or false? A square has 4 sides. Right? True. We can all agree on that. I hope we can at this point. And so then next, all the sides of a square are the same. True or false? All right. So because we have 4 sides that are exactly the same, we have one of them being 12. That's going to be 12. That's going to be 12. That's going to be 12. 4 times 12. Or you can say 12 4 times. We have a side of 12, and that happens 4 times. So 12 times 4 gives you 48, and that's the perimeter. If you plug in the formula, you'll see the same thing. The perimeter of a square is going to be equal to 4 times the side, because you're going to have 4 sides. And if you wanted to see a drawing of it, I got you all day. So here's a drawing. We'll have 12 here, 12 there, 12 there, 12 there. 12 times 4, 48. Yes or no, everybody? Are we good to go? Cool. And notice it says part 1. We're going to have a few parts here for the guided warm-up. I'm going to go ahead and make some people question their lives in a couple slides here. So here we go. Part 2 here. So with part 2, now we have the area of a square is 16 square feet. What is the perimeter? Whoa. Okay. So, hey, no worries, Gene. So this is where things are going to get slightly confusing, but I promise you, if you stick through this part, life is going to open up to you, at least for math, in a couple different ways. I got you. So everybody help me out. The first thing we should always be doing when it comes to a word problem is what again? What is the first thing that we should be doing with a word problem? Read the question. That's right. So if you're in for the first time here, if this is your first class, remember that every word problem that you're ever going to do is read the question first. You want to know what the objective is. You need to know what the goal of the game is. There's no point in playing a game if you don't know how to win. So the way that we're going to win here is by finding the perimeter. And we all know that perimeter is specific to shapes. Everybody, the question says, what's the perimeter? What shape are we dealing with? Right, we're dealing with a square. So with that said, whatever answer we're going to get, we need to understand that the perimeter of this square, to find the answer, we are going to need to find what? What is the formula for the perimeter of a square again? Side times side, right? We have the side times the side. So everybody pay attention, because if you have problems with word problems, this is where we're going to get through those problems here. So think about it like this, everybody. I want everybody to put their pencils down, just put them down, just put them down. This is where I really want you to pay attention. And if you need to take a screenshot of the work at the end, do it. but I would much rather have you actually open your eyes here and see what's going on instead of trying to copy at the same time as you're looking, right? That's never good. So focus up here. The goal of the problem is to find the perimeter of the square. What we need for the perimeter of a square are the sides, right? So let's look through the information, and your only concern here, because you know that you need the side, your only concern is, where can I find the sides? Where can I find them? Where are they? And so this is step 2 of a word problem. You look at the information. The area of that square, 16 square feet. Everybody, did that sentence right there tell you exactly what the side was? Yes or no? Did it directly tell you what the side is? Did it directly just say, here's the side? No, it did not. And this is where a lot of people here would look at this and say, oh, crap, I need the side, but I don't have it. I give up. Anybody here feel like that sometimes? The moment that they see something in a problem that doesn't give them the direct answer, they're like, screw this. Right? It happens. It can happen, especially if you're not experienced. So pay attention. The question that you want to ask yourself is, okay, they didn't give me the side that I need, but can I get the side from the area? Everybody, can you find the side from the area? Yes, you can. Absolutely. And so this is where problem solving really kicks in. It is not about trying to find what you need at a surface level. It's about using the clues that are given to you. So everybody, what's the formula for the area of a square again? Write it down in the chat box. Give me it. Hit me. What is the area of a square? And so, isn't that interesting? We wrote side times side for the area. Is there something wrong with what we said earlier? Yeah, there is. Where's the mistake in what we wrote so far, everybody? And I can't believe nobody actually said anything yet. As I was going to take this all the way to my grave. What's the mistake here? Frederick, it's the perimeter. Exactly. Everybody, what's the perimeter of a square? I'm going to ask you guys again, because everybody here went along with it. Side times side. No, it is not. The perimeter of a square is 4 times the side. I can't believe that went on as long as it did, but it's all good. 4 times the side, everybody. 4 times the side. That is perimeter. These are things that we're going to have to look out for as we practice, because if we're not using the formulas the right way, then we don't really give ourselves the best chance. So, Frida, now, if you notice something, you need to say something, all right? Because the last thing that I want is for 103 people that are in this class to be like, all right, perimeter, side times side. All right, sounds good. Yeah. And then the next thing you know, right? So we need to go ahead. Then say something, Simone. I expect you to say something, Simone. So there it is. Now, here's the thing, everybody. What number times itself is going to give you 16? What number times itself is going to give you 16? Everybody agrees 4? 4 times 4, is that 16? Yeah, cool. So yeah. So if the area is the side times side, here's how you could write it, everybody. You could say side times side. In this problem, it's supposed to be 16, because remember, the area is 16. And so side times side equals 16. And you can find out that the side has to be 4. Because 4 times 4, side times side, does give you 16. So everybody, do you see how we were able to use a clue of the problem to find what we need to solve the problem? Yes or no? Great. And so with that said, again, we were able to use a clue of the problem, the area given to us, to find the side, because we need the side to solve the problem. So the side equals 4, and that's it right there. So the perimeter equals 4 times 4 in this case. And I mean, pretty conveniently, 4 times 4 is what, everybody? Pretty conveniently, that's going to be 16. Yeah. Pretty conveniently, that's going to be 16. So is the answer going to be square feet or feet, everybody? Which one's going to be? This is a good question here. Is the answer going to be 16 feet or square feet? Kayla, the answer is 16 because we were looking for the perimeter and we have found it now at 16. But my question here is it going to be square feet or regular feet for perimeter? Let's ask. Let's see who knows what the difference is. Who knows what the difference is? Yeah, it's going to be feet. The answer is going to be feet because if we had square feet, that's area, that's space. Regular feet is distance. Remember, everybody, we said perimeter is the distance around the shape. And so the answer here is 16 feet. So before we move on to the next one, Kayla, what's up?
I got everything. I'm just confused on, again, how you got 16.
16 for the area or perimeter?
As 16 as like the final answer.
I got you. So Kayla, stay on the mic with me. So
Okay.
Kayla, we can agree that the perimeter of a square is 4 times the side because you have 4 sides that are the same. So multiply 4 times the side. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Sweet. Now from there, our goal here is to find the side of the square. If we find the side, we can plug it into the formula to get the perimeter. So we had to go on a little adventure over here and use the clues. We're told that the area was 16. And so we went over here. We wrote out area equals 16. Krista, I got you. We wrote out area equals 16. And remember, Kayla, the area of a square is the side times side. Good there so far?
Right.
Cool. So pretty much the question that we have to ask ourselves is, hey, if the side times side is 16, well, then what number times itself gives you 16? And we can agree then that the side is going to be equal to 4, correct?
Right.
Cool. But we're not done there yet. We're not done yet because the question wasn't asking us to find the side. It was asking us to find the perimeter. And that's why we have to go back to that formula that we set up, plug in the 4 times 4, 16.
Okay. Oh, okay. I get it. Because we were missing that other side.
Yeah. We were missing the side to get the answer. And that's why we had to go on a little adventure, do our thing, and then come back. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. And so with that said, to explain, Krista, for you and everybody who has that question here, the difference between feet and square feet. So this is going to be really useful for word problems, especially. So this is something I want everybody here to write down. So if you have feet, that is a distance. And so when I say feet, I'm talking feet, meters, inches, miles, like just plain old distance. You know, you can say centimeters, we can say meters. You know, if it's just regular units, basically is what I'm saying. Regular units, that's a distance. And it's possible that it is perimeter, possible. Now, if you're given square meters, square centimeters, square inches, square feet, this is all going to be area. That is always going to be area. All right. Always, always, always. And the reason for this is, everybody, for the following reason. When you have perimeter, you're just adding up all the sides. 1 foot plus 2 feet is 3 feet. However, when you're doing area, you're not adding, you're multiplying. You're multiplying this side by this side. When you multiply units, you square the units. And so if you have area over here, and you have, you know, let's say 2 feet by 5 feet. Pay attention here. This is super important. You'll have 2 times 5 is 10. But what you really want to pay attention to, everybody, is this. Feet times feet gives you feet squared. And that's area right there. That's area. So yes or no, does that make even slightly more sense than it did before? If you have square feet or square units, that's area. When you have regular units or just feet, just inches, miles, whatever it may be, that is going to be distance, and typically that's perimeter. But for area, square units, always area. Cubic units, always volume, always. All right. And so let's take a look at this second one here, and then we're moving forward with rectangles. So here, the perimeter of a square is 40 feet. What is the area? So again, focus on the question first. We start off right here. What is the area? What is the area? And so what we're looking for is the area of a square. So everybody, what's the formula for the area of a square? Hit me with it. Frida, we'll be looking at plenty of examples. I got you, okay? I got you with plenty of examples. But the area of a square is going to be the side times the side, right? It's going to be the side times the side. You can think of side squared if you want to think about it that way. But yeah, it's going to be side times side. Now, let me ask you this, everybody. Do they give you the side directly? Like, do they explicitly say, here's the side in the problem? Do we see that? No, like as much as we would love for them to do that, they don't here. But they do give you something else that we could use to get the side. What's that going to be, everybody? What do they give you? Right, we're given the perimeter to try to do this. We're given the perimeter. So with that said, that's what we want to focus on. The perimeter of the square is 40 feet. So everybody, if they give you the perimeter equals 40 feet, everybody, what's the formula for the perimeter of a square again? What is that again? What is that? Not side times side. No, it's going to be 4 times the side. That's right. Remember that the perimeter of a square is equal to 4 times the side. So everyone, let me ask you this. Because the perimeter of a square is 4 times the side, and they give you the perimeter being 40 feet, is it safe for us to say that 4 times the side is going to equal 40 feet? Is that fair to say? So 4 times whatever the side is going to be 40 feet. And yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. And so with that said, everybody, if we just do a quick little bit of math and we get rid of that 4 dividing by 4 sides, we end up getting the side equals 40 divided by 4, which is what? 10. Now that was absolutely necessary. That was absolutely necessary because of the following reason. We needed the side. We needed the side. We needed it. So now that we have that the side is 10 feet specifically, we can go ahead now and find the area. Everybody, before I even do this, does that make sense? We use the area to get the side so we can plug it into the formula and get the answer. Yes or no? Sounds good. And so with that said, everybody, 10 feet times 10 feet is going to equal what? It's going to be 100. And what are the units? What are the units going to be? 100 what? 100 what? That's, oh yeah, 100 square feet. That's right. 100 square feet. And there it is. So I think Frida was asking about if we multiply by 2. No, we are squaring it. That's a power of 2. So a power of 2 means you're multiplying that number by itself twice. So side times side in that sense. So I want to make sure you understand that. And so Maya, I'll take your question and then we'll move on if there are no other questions. Go ahead, Maya.
Oh, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on the test, is the answer choices gonna have 2 of the same answer choices, but different is it called units or
Yeah, units. Definitely possible. Definitely possible. I've seen practice tests with it, and I wouldn't doubt it if it was on the ASVAB. Wouldn't doubt it at all. But the main reason that I'm talking about units right now is because in word problems, they're not always going to say that the area of the object is blank square feet. They're just going to say, hey, a 100 square foot object is, has a length of da, 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 da. They won't specifically say area. They might not specifically say perimeter either. And so it's going to be up to you to use clues like square feet versus regular feet to understand what they give you. Does that make sense, Maya?
So how will we know what the answer choice should be in? What unit?
So if the question asks you to find the area, then you got to do square feet. If they ask you for perimeter, regular feet. If it's volume, cubic feet.
Okay.
Cubic units in that sense. But yeah, good question. Great question. And so I'm going to go ahead and let Mr. Sosa in here. And so with that said, everybody, let's move forward into rectangles. So everybody, let's go ahead and start here with the first one. This is probably the easiest one that we'll get all day. So everybody starting off here, let's go ahead and make this one quick. What is the area of the rectangle? The length is 4. The width is 8. Everybody, how do I find the area of a rectangle again? What is that again? The area of a rectangle is not side times side because the sides aren't the same, right? That's right, length times width. There we go. Length times width. That is correct. So in this case, they give us the length is 4. And the width is 8. So this one's a pretty quick one. Everybody, what's 4 times 8? 32 what though? Let's be annoying here. 32 what? 32 square feet. That's correct. 32 square feet. That's right, that's right, that's right. Yeah. Right on. 32 square feet. It's the area. Cool. Now, obviously, that was pretty straightforward. Now, let's ask ourselves about the second one here. The length of a rectangle is 7. The width is 12. What is the perimeter of the rectangle? So just to have everybody out here, just to help us out, if we're checking this out, here's what's really going on. We got this little rectangle here, or whatever, and we're going to go ahead and label the sides. So the length is going to be 7. Mark that with. The width is going to be in blue here, and I'll use 12. So everyone, Frederick, go ahead and raise your hand. I'll call you in a second. So here, are we just going to go ahead and add 7 and 12? Multiply 7 and 12? What are we doing again? No, that's right. We had to do 2 times because remember, if the bottom here is 12, the top part is 12. If the left side is 7, the right side is 7. So we have to add everything up here. And that's why the formula tells us for perimeter of a rectangle, we're going to go ahead and do 2 times the length. And we'll add 2 times the width. And I know my big old head's in the way, so I'll go ahead and move this over in a second. So 2 times the width. And so let me move this all the way over here. We'll go ahead and move that over here, and then I'll try to take all of this over there. There we go. Cool. So now that we have that going on, my party people, what's going to be 2 times 7, everybody? I had to. So 2 times 7, that's going to give us 14. And then the width, 2 times 12, that's going to give us what? 24. Everybody, 14 plus 24 is what? 38 feet, correct. 38 feet. So does anybody contest that at all? Everybody good here? Yes or no? Fred, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to ask about the units basically. So no matter if we don't have, the question asks about the square feet or square feet square or square feet or feet or whatever, can we just put the unit as whatever it is? Because the question, the answer choice might be square feet, centimeter, feet square, or depend, so I don't know. Because he just put, even though he didn't say feet in the answer.
Oh, that's on me. Oh,
the
yeah,
question.
that's on me. My bad. That was force of habit. That shouldn't have been there. That's on me. So it'll just be 38 for this problem because there is nothing mentioned. So thank you for pointing that out. It
Even
should just
in
be-
the area as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yep, you're right about that. Thanks for correcting that. Appreciate that. Thanks. I was just used to using the feet from the last problem. So you're right. Cool. So good job pointing that out. So with that, and that's actually a pretty good observation there. But yeah, we're good to go here. So with that, boom, let's go and move on up here into part 2. We have part 3 right below here. So part 3 is going to be the craziest one. But part 2 is where things get a little crazier here. So the problem asks us here, like, yo, they give you the area. Like, here's the area. Here's the length. What is the width? And again, we're talking about a rectangle here. So if we had to draw this out, like, let me go ahead and just show y'all how we would do this. There's a few different ways, but if you can get this down, like, life's going to be pretty easy for you if you know how to do this fluidly. So here, let me go ahead and say it right over there. We say, hey, the length is 5. And then we're looking for the width. But then they give you the area. So everyone, this is how you always want to handle these. The way you want to handle this is saying, hey, look, I'm looking for the width. I have the length. I have the area. The question you're going to ask yourself always is, how can I use the area and the length to find the width? Everybody, is there a connection between the 3 of those things? Length, width, and area? Is there some sort of connection in there somewhere? What is that? What is that connection going to be? Type it out. Like, give me the formula. What's that connection going to be? Because again, this is how I want you to start thinking here. It's about making connections. This is what I want. I want the width. I have the length and the area. Is there a connection between those 3 ideas? Somebody type it out all the way through. Somebody type out the entire formula. Now you're saying how to do it, area divided by length, but give me the formula first. That way we can build some sort of grounding here so that everybody can understand this. So what is the formula for area? Thank you, Mario. Yeah, the area, the formula of area is going to be area equals length times width. So if you know your formula here, think about it like this, everybody. Look, we're looking for the width, but we have the area, we have the length. Everybody, do you see how we can find the width now? Do you see that? We already given 2 out of the 3 pieces. We want the 3rd piece. Do you see how we can get that? Because we can, and we just need to divide. Because we plug in our numbers, we'll have 45 for the area. We have 5 for the length, and we are looking for the width. And so all we need to do here is work backwards by dividing both sides by 5. Because if we divide both sides by 5, then what happens is it cancels out on the right side, and we are left with 45 divided by 5. And so the width will be what, everybody? The width will be 9. The width will be 9. And that's the answer right there, 9. Does that make sense, everybody? Does that make sense? The idea that we can work backwards to get what we need. Sounds good. Sounds good here. Again, we can work backwards. Now, area is pretty easy compared to this next one here. The perimeter of a rectangle is 100 meters. The width is 20 meters. What is the length? All right, so that's right, Anthony, you're starting to pick it up here. So here we go. We want the length. So what is the length here in this next one? what is the length? And we're talking about a rectangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw out myself right here, a little rectangle. If my hands would feel like working. Boom, there we go. So there's my rectangle. Obviously, always drawn perfectly because you guys know me. So with that, boom, we have our little rectangle here. So if you're looking for the length or width when given the area, you divide, Marquette. Again, we got to make sure we're understanding the process and the why, not just trying to memorize steps here. Again, it's about the why here. But here we are. We are looking for the length here. So let me write that out. And then they tell you that the width is what? What do they tell us that the width is, everybody? 20. That's correct. So let me go ahead and mark that out. Width is 20. So I'll write a 20 up here and a 20 right there. Because remember, the width, top and bottom, length, left and right, or you can switch them up. Doesn't really matter. But there we have it. And what other information are we given, everybody? What other piece of information are we given that's useful here? Hey, Mario, right on. Good eye there. But what else are we given here? We're given the perimeter. That's right. We're given the perimeter. Let me use light blue here. Perimeter is 100. So basically what we're saying is if we add all of this up, let me actually use the blue. If we add all of this up, we're going to get 100 if we add it all up. So think about it like this, everybody. The perimeter equals 100, or we can just say length or 2 lengths plus 2 widths. Everybody, they told us that the perimeter was 100. So let me highlight that right there. 100 equals 2 times the length plus 2 times what? 20. They tell you that it was 20. And so with that, booyah. That's right. Or yeah. And so with that, boom, that's going to give you 40 for it. Exactly. So 2 times 20 will give you the 40. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. This part right here, that's going to be 40. Everybody, so far so good. I want to make sure I do a quick check-in with everybody. What we just did was we just filled in the formula. We're looking for the length. We have the width, so we plugged it in. So far so good. Good, because we're going to solve this now. We're going to solve this now. I'm going to show you this way, then I'll show you the shortcut way. So everybody, what's the first step backwards we need to take to solve this? Jillian, that's right. We're going to be subtracting 40. Great job, Jillian. So we will be subtracting 40 here to get that out of the way. Everybody, what is 100 minus 40? That's going to be 60, absolutely. So we're going to have 60 here equals 2 times the length. What's the last thing we do? Oh, thank you, Jillian. Divide both sides by 2, absolutely. So we're going to divide both sides by 2, everybody. If we go ahead and do that, what do we get? The length equals what? 30. So yes or no, does that make sense? And how we solved that equation, yes or no? Because I'm going to show you a shortcut way to get these kind of problems done pretty fast. Cool. So we got 30 here, and I want to show you guys a shortcut here. That way we can move on with some peace. So here we go. So to get this done the shortcut way, this is actually going to be pretty eye-opening. But again, I don't want you using shortcuts unless you actually know why it works. So this is the exciting part of things. So everybody, if the distance around is 100 all the way through, is it then true that if we cut it in half, we cut this in half, and we can just say that 50 equals the length plus the width? Is that fair, everybody? If we just cut everything in half, like if we literally just say, yo, cut this rectangle in half, like literal half. If we just cut this in half and we just focus on this part of it, we can literally just cut the perimeter in half to get 50. Could we just do that? Yeah, we can. We can. We absolutely can for the perimeter. For the perimeter. And you know why that's easy, everybody? Because of this. 50 equals length plus 20. Everybody, if we take away 20 from both sides, what do we get? Correct. 30. 30. So does that make a little bit of sense to everybody? Again, when it comes to the perimeter of a rectangle, if you have the perimeter and you have one of the sides, hey, cut the perimeter in half. So instead of dealing with 2 lengths and 2 widths, just deal with 1 length and 1 width. That's the idea there. That's where it comes from. Instead of dealing with 2 lengths and 2 widths equals 100, cut everything in half. 1 length, 1 width, 50. Subtract, you got your length, and you're good. Jose absolutely always works when it comes to perimeter with rectangles. Absolutely. 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 So is anybody enjoying that? Did anybody enjoy that alternate way where my big old head's in the way? All right, over there. But did anybody enjoy that? Do you feel like you might be inclined to use that if you're dealing with a problem like that? Right on. Right on. No, volume is a different concept. Volume is an absolutely different concept. We'll talk about that. Yeah, Kayla, for sure. Let me go ahead and take myself out of the equation here. I got you. And go ahead and take a picture. Go ahead. I'll give everybody else 10 seconds here while I get some water. Take a picture. We're going to a tougher one here. Cool. Hopefully that was enough time. And let's get to it. So part 3 here. So we're only doing one problem here for part 3. But this is where things just get crazy, all right? So I got y'all. So, Cleveland, you have a question? I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, where'd you get that 20 from the last question?
Oh, the 20? Yeah, the width was right here. They told you that the width was 20.
No, I mean like the 50.
Oh, the 50 right here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we were talking about was, so the shortcut way that you can do it with is because the perimeter is 2 of the lengths and 2 of the widths gives you 100. If you cut everything in half, so instead of dealing with 2 lengths, you deal with half of it, 1 length. Instead of dealing with 2 widths, you deal with half of that, 1 width. Instead of dealing with the full 100, you deal with half of it, 50. So basically, you cut everything in half. That's what.
Got you. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, no problem, man. Good question. That's a good question there. So with that, here we go. Boom. Let's hit this one, man. This is the one that you want to know how to do. If you can do a problem like this, like if this was on the math knowledge, because this is how they'll present it for the math knowledge. Here's the area, find the perimeter. With arithmetic reasoning, the way that they'll word it, it'll be Stacy's garden is 20 meters long and it has an area of 120 square meters. That's how they're going to word it with context with a story. So either way, it's the same problem. It's the same exact problem. One just has a story masking the situation, whereas math knowledge is way more straightforward. That's the only difference. And so with that said, here we go. The area of a rectangle is 60 square yards. Sounds good. So everybody, let's just make sure we know the goal here. We're looking for the perimeter of said rectangle. So if I am going ahead and drawing this rectangle out, what I'm going to be saying is, hey, look, I am looking for the perimeter. So what I want, and this is what you should always do first. So I basically made a mistake by highlighting that blue here, but the perimeter of the rectangle is going to equal 2 lengths and 2 widths, because you're going to have 2 of the lengths here and 2 of the widths showing up here. So before we even begin with the information of the problem, everybody, I need you to confirm for me. Confirm this. If I had the length and I had the width, I can get the answer right away. Yes or no? Great. Yes. Because we're dealing with the perimeter of a rectangle and we memorize the formula, 2L plus 2W, because you have 2 lengths and 2 widths. If I had the length and the width, plug it in, boom, I'm done. Or I can do it in my head, length, width, whatever way you want to do it. So that's what we need to look out for. That's the information we want. Now, what information are we given? The information we're given is this. Let me use this lighter. Let me use purple. The area of said rectangle, 60 square yards. So remember that the area is 60 square yards. And we also have, oh, look at that. The length is 20. So they give you the length equals 20. Everybody, we have the length now. What piece of information do we need to solve this problem now? We have the length. What piece do we need to solve? Game show time. What information do we need now? This is like a game, right? This is like a little puzzle. Okay, if I had the length and the width, I'm good. I see I got the length. Where can I find the width? Everybody, what piece of information do they give us that will help us find the width? What information do they give us that will help us get the width? The 60, the area, exactly. Everybody repeat it in the chat box. What is the area of a rectangle? Hit me. What is the area of a rectangle? It is length times width. That is correct. And because we already have the length, because we already have the area, we can plug everything in and we can find the width. Yes or no, everybody? Do you agree there? Because we have the area, because we have the length, we can plug it into the area formula and get the width. And this is where math starts making a little bit more sense. So notice, this wasn't a one-step problem, but it's still doable, very doable. Because everybody, once we find the width, is the problem done? Is the answer going to be the width? Is the answer going to be whatever we got for the width? Or what do we got to have to do? This is why it's important to talk about it. Why not? What's going to have to happen for us to actually get the answer once we get the width? Nelia, perfect. Yes. Then add all the sides. Nelia, this is why I love having you in class. You're always participating. Yeah, you're going to have to add up all the sides. You're going to have to add up all the sides because, again, the question was, what is the perimeter, not the width? Has anybody ever been tricked by not tricked, but has anybody ever done a problem where they found something in the middle of the problem, like a length or a width, and you thought that you were done, and you were like, oh, I see the answer there. Let me circle it. Anybody ever been there? Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you are not done until you have what you came for, and that's the perimeter. So let's go and solve this here. Let's be done. So we have the area is 60. We have the length is 20, and we're looking to find the width. The only thing we have to do, everybody, is just divide both sides by 20, because there it is, and we get the width equals what? That's right, Jillian, 3. Yeah. So is the answer 3? No, we have to plug it back in. We have the width equals 3, and as Mario said about an hour ago, yes, the answer will be 46, boss. It will. And so we'll go ahead and add everything up here. 20 plus 20 plus 3 plus 3. Or we can just do it here. 2 times the length, 40. 2 times the width, 6. And the answer will be 46 yards. Boom. So with that said, my party people, there's our answer right there. There it is. That's our answer. Does that make sense to everybody? Does it make sense that the answer here is 46? But not just the number itself, but how we actually got there. Does that process that we just went through, although it's probably like a headache and a half, but does that process make sense? How it's about using the clues that are given to you to connect the information. That's all I'm trying to teach you here today. Because if you know what the underlying theme here is, again, using clues to develop a plan, it doesn't matter if we do geometry work problems. It could be a distance, rate, time problem. It could be a solving equations work problem. It could be systems of equations. It doesn't matter what it is. We'll be able to apply the same level of thinking to critically think about these new problems. That's what it's always been about, my party people. So with that said, it's 7:08. Can I redo it one more time? Yeah, sure, I got you. So I'm going to redo this one just really briefly. It took me 30 seconds, but then we're going to start getting into word problems. Okay. And this is where it's your time to start practicing. So here we go. The goal here, Shania, first things first, always start with the question. We want the perimeter, and it says here it's a rectangle. So we want this rectangle's perimeter. Remember that the perimeter is just adding up all the sides. 2 of the lengths and 2 of the widths. That's all we wanted. And so what did they give us? They give us the area right there and the length right there. Oh, they give you the area and they give you the length. Well, for the problem for perimeter, I need length and width. Can I get the width from the area? Yes, because the area formula for a rectangle is length times width. And so all we needed to do was say, hey, I'm going to plug in my area. That's 60. I'm going to plug in my length. That was 20. Now all I need to do is figure out 20 times what gives me 60. That's going to be 3. To find that, the straightforward way, divide both sides to solve the equation. But technically, you're just asking 20 times what gives you 60, and that's going to be 3. So once we did that, boom, now we were able to plug everything back in and solve for the perimeter. Does that make sense there? Let me know. Sounds good, Kevin. Sounds good, Shania. Sounds good, Nelia. Sounds good. Natasha, thank you guys. Appreciate it. So with that said, Simone, go ahead and ask. I'm going to start going over the 3 steps to word problem success. Simone, raise your hand and I'll go ahead and call on you in a second. So with that said, everybody, 3 steps to word problem success. You got to make sure you're following these 3 steps, because if you want to be successful at all types of word problems and grow from every single one, what you need to be able to do is you need to be able to tackle it with strategy. Step number 1, just like you saw me do here, it is not about just reading the problem. It's about reading the question. Remember, treat this like a game. Every game that you play, with the exception of Squid Game, has a solution. And so here, you need to make sure that you know what the objective of the game is. And that's going to be, hey, the question itself. Once you read the question, then you can go ahead and look at the information you have to figure out how to answer the question. Too often, people start, and you guys tell me if this sounds familiar, this sounds like you. Have you ever started reading a word problem start to finish, and you get to the second or third sentence, and you're sitting here like you have no idea what you just read when you're done reading it? Has that ever happened to you? Where you're at the third, fourth sentence, and you're sitting here like, now, I done read feet, I done read perimeter, but I have no idea what's going on. That'll happen, right? And that's because you're trying to read information and try to fit it into something that you don't know what it fits into yet. Question first, then information, then you think about a plan. This is the longest part, but you got to find the relationship and solve. That's why reading the question works. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with question number 1. Start with question number 1. And after question number 1, I'm going to turn it over to you to do by yourself. So let's start with this one together so that we can actually get a good feeling for how this should go. And then I'll release you guys into the wild. So with that said, step number 1, everybody, as a group here, tell me, what do we do first here? Start with a form remarks. What do we do? What do we do? Everybody type it out, type it out, type it out. Read the question, man. Read the question, read the question. Type that thing out. Step number 1. The question is asking us for what? You can highlight it if you want to, but it's going to say here, how many feet of fencing will the farmer need to enclose the land? So this is a perfect example of how the question will not tell you perimeter, area. You have to use context clues to get this. So everybody, who knows what the question is actually asking you to find? And second, how do you know what keyword gives it away? What are you trying to find and what keyword gives it away? So Aaliyah says perimeter because it says how many feet. I see feet, perimeter. I see enclosed, coconut. That's what I was looking for right there. Everybody, I'm going to show you 3 main things that's going to give away that this is about perimeter. So the question, I'm going to say right now, the question is asking you to find the perimeter. And I can already tell that this is going to be pretty frustrating for a lot of people because, again, we had such different answers already. So everybody pay attention here, and then you can start taking notes again. The reason I know that this is asking me to find perimeters for the following reasons. One, it tells you how many feet. Now that doesn't by itself doesn't give it all away. It just says feet. It could just be a regular distance. It could be perimeter. You don't know for sure. But how I can really enforce that idea and confirm that? The word enclose. Everybody, if I'm trying to see how many feet enclose something, am I not talking about the distance around? Does that not mean distance around? If I say how many feet to enclose something? Yeah, it is. If you're asking about how many feet or inches or yards or centimeters or whatever to enclose something, that's perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around a shape. And so with that said, the feet, the distance to enclose, to go around, that is perimeter. Everybody, yes or no, do we agree with that or disagree? And then lastly here, just the answer choices all saying feet. That's how you can reconfirm that you're dealing with a distance, not an area. All right. And so boom, find the perimeter. This is where you start going back into the problem. And you see here that it says a farmer marks off a square piece of land for incoming animals. The marked land is supposed to cover this many square feet of land. Well, we know what the shape that we're dealing with here. The shape is find the perimeter of the square. This is everything, everybody. Like this is where you make your money on the ASVAB. And by your money, I mean that bonus check and I mean your salary by knowing how to solve problems like this. So pay attention. Find the perimeter of the square. That's what we wanted because it said again, the feet enclosing the land. Cool. Sounds good. Number two, everybody, after we ask ourselves, what's the question? What information do we want? What's the next question that we're supposed to ask? What information do we want? What do we want to ask you? Exactly, Sergio. What information do we have? So information given. So Jose, I saw that you asked, or you had your hand up. If you want to raise your hand, I'll go ahead and answer that question here. So Frederick, can a fence be also perimeter? No, the fence itself, because they could ask you what's the area within the fence. They could say what's the distance around the fence. They could say what's one of the walls of the fence. You don't know what they're asking. So this is why you have to take every problem as if it's a new one. This is where we are trying to memorize and look for patterns, but that's how we ultimately get got. I don't want you to get got here. Look at the clues. Feet to enclose it. That's perimeter. Going around the shape. How many feet around it? How many feet enclosing it? That's all you need. That's all you need. So Jose, go ahead and ask your question and we're moving forward.
The reason why I thought it was area, like, well, now I know it's feet because you told us because of perimeter. But what's the best way to remember like stuff like that? Because the reason why I thought it was area, because it was talking about covered square feet of land. So I thought of inside. That's what it came to my mind. But since
is that followed by a question mark? Is this the question?
No, but that's why I thought.
Yeah.
But what's a good way of remembering like feet and stuff like that? Like
so I told you earlier. Yeah. So regular distances, that's potentially perimeter. Potentially. If it's square units, so square feet, square miles, square kilometers, square inches, square meters, always area. Always area. And then cubic units, always volume.
You gotta study that. Thank you, Coach.
You have to know that. Yep. You have to know it and apply it. Because remember, memorizing isn't enough. You have to apply. You have to apply. And so here, we're moving forward to use the information given now. The information that's given to us is this. They tell you that the marked land is supposed to cover 36 what feet, everybody? What's the clue there? 36 what feet? 36 what feet? 36 square feet. Everybody, 36 square feet tells us that we are dealing with what? Yes, area. We are given the area as 36 square feet. That is what gives it away right there. Square feet is what gives it away. Everybody, do you see that there again? Agree with me or disagree with me? Because this is where things finally start making sense with geometry. Do you see that when we say square feet, square inches, square miles, every single time, that is area? Yes or no? Cool. And I really do appreciate you guys, participating here. I know it's not easy at the end of a long day. I know the sun's already down here on the East Coast, so I do appreciate y'all participating here. So with that said, area equals 36 square feet. Sounds good. We want the perimeter. Everybody, recite it for me. The perimeter of a square is what? Recite it. Chat box, go. What is the perimeter? So yeah, it's the distance around, and the specific formula is what? That's right, 4 times the side. So we need the side. That's what that's telling me. I want the perimeter of that square. I need the side to get there. I'm looking for the information about the side. The only thing that I have is not directly the side, but I have the area. Everybody, what's the area formula again? Side times side, side times side. That is the area. Again, side times side or side squared, whichever way you want to say it, but there it is. And so therefore, everybody, the area is 36. Let me go ahead and just use an arrow there. It never works going down. I hate that. There we go. So boom. So that'll be 36. And that's going to equal side times side. Everybody, what times itself gives you 36? Help me out here. What times itself gives you 36? Yeah, I think we can all agree on that, right? 6 times 6 gives you 36. And so, yeah, we can definitely say that the side equals 6. And so with that, boom, boom, we just solved our problem. We just solved it. I swear, this thing does not work going down. There we go. So side is 6. And we will literally just go ahead and write our stuff here. Perimeter equals 4 times the 6. Let me move everything down by just a little bit here. So 4 times 6. Everybody, 4 times 6 is going to give us what, everybody? What's that going to be? What's that going to be? Hey, yes, what's up? Perimeter equals what? 24 what? 24 what? 24 feet. Exactly. And what does that make the answer choice, everybody? What is our answer going to be? What's it going to be, everybody? A, B, C. That's correct. It's going to be C. So is anybody here feeling like if I would have shown you this problem at the beginning of class without any notes, without any help, do you feel like you would have gotten this right before class started by yourself? You tell me, yes or no, be honest. Be honest, by yourself before class. Because I know some of us here have been through similar problems like this in my classes, but a lot of us haven't. So be honest. So look at that. My goal is for that, maybe all of us, but 1 or 2 of us. I'm trying to get at least 95% of the people in here to be comfortable with this at the end of the day. So if I gave you notes, the same notes that we had today, and I gave you a couple more walkthroughs, do you believe that eventually you could do a problem like this without your notes? Eventually, do you feel like you could? With more practice and time, do you feel like you could? Eventually, not today, not right now, but eventually. Do you feel like you can trust yourself and trust the process enough to get more practice in, to be more confident with this? Do you feel like it's within reach, is what I'm saying? That's really it. Do you feel like this is within reach? And that's what I want to show you here. This is possible, everybody. Remember, you don't lose if you learn. So as hard as the problem might be, always look forward to understanding the why. So here's what we're going to do, everybody. I'm going to set a timer, and I'm going to give us 2.5 minutes, just like I do on the ASVAB, to get this next problem done. Now, I don't expect this, and pay attention here. Everybody put your pencils down or whatever. I do not expect you to get the entire solution done in 2.5 minutes. I expect you to have a plan in 2.5 minutes. All right, one more time. I do not expect you to get an answer, a number, and be done. If you do, great, that's awesome. But the goal of these problems is to make a plan. We can work on speed later, but there's no point in working on speed if you don't even know how to drive, okay? If you can't get out of the parking lot, why do I want you on the highway? So the 2.5 minutes that we're going to spend on this problem is to make a plan. And once you have a plan, then you can calculate. So without further ado, let's see what you got, my party people. Only type ready when you're done. Do not give away the answer. Mario, I'm looking at you. So with that said, 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead and try this one out, man. Let's go. And I'll drop a hint about halfway through. So let's go ahead and get to it here. Everybody, the question's asking not if or whatever. You can include that here because there's no numbers included. So if he wanted to put up fencing, ooh, that's a key here. Fencing around the garden. How much fencing would he need to purchase? Everyone, fencing around the garden. What does that sound like to you? What are we looking for? That's right, Anelia. Not perimeter, but perimeter. Yeah. Like, yes. We're looking for perimeter. Yeah. I love the all caps there. I love the excitement. But yeah, like we are looking for perimeter. Who agrees? Who disagrees? We want perimeter. And just to go ahead and honor Nelia, let me go ahead and convert that into text, all caps. Yeet. Yes, we want perimeter. Right there. Cool. We want perimeter. Yes. And so with that, I mean, I just enjoy having you guys as my students, man. You guys are awesome. So with that, here we go. We want perimeter. Now, everybody, can we identify the shape that we're dealing with? Everybody, what's the shape that we're dealing with? Quick. We're dealing with a square garden right here. Square garden. All right, that's what we're dealing with. So we want the perimeter, and here we can say of the square. So this is, I want to really touch on what we've been doing lately, because if I don't explain this now and I don't do it today, then it really, I really am shortchanging you on understanding like how to learn, like how to actually beat word problems. So everyone, do you notice how we go from a story to a statement, a pure math statement? Does everybody see that? Like that's what we're doing here. We're going from a complete story to just the math. That's what we're doing here. Do you see that there? Like we're literally just extrapolating information. That's really all it is. And so obviously it might not make total sense to somebody in the beginning, but that's really the art of what we're doing. We are extrapolating information. We are taking the story out and just getting the information. So with that, someone said typo. Typo where, Carrie Ann? Or do you mean that? Oh, that was typo from your end. Okay. I was like, where? I gotta fix it. So with that, so now we have to ask ourselves, what information do we have? So info that we have. What we have here is area of the square, 25 square feet. So what we should say is area of the square, 25 square feet. You can say it like that, or you can say it like this. Either way, it's the same thing, guys, same thing. So with that said, what we should be saying next in number 3, again, the connection. What do we want? What do we have? What's the connection? Everybody, is it safe to say that we can go from the area to the side to get the perimeter? Yes or no? Is that a solid plan? We are given the area, we can use that to get the side, and then we can use that to get the perimeter. If you got that far in the whole 2.5 minutes, if you were able to come up and deduce this, that we have the area, we can get the side, which will give us the answer, which is the perimeter, you got the answer right. In my eyes, you got it right. Yes, do we have some calculating to do? For sure. Yeah. Again, yes. But you got the plan down, which means we can build off of that and we can get faster. So let's go ahead and get to it here. Jose, I love that you're always asking questions, but I hate that you're always trying to memorize one problem or generalize one problem to the rest. The short answer is yes. If you have the area of a square and you're looking for the perimeter, go through the side first. If you have the perimeter and you're looking for the area, the side is the middleman. The side is what connects both of those ideas. So Jose, the idea is to find what connects what you want with what you have. And in this case, it is the side. That is what connects it. That is what connects it. And so with that said, here we go, everybody. Formula for the area of a square. Hit me. Quick. Chat box. Go. Area of a square. Go. Side times side. Correcto mundo. Side times side. Because we're given the area, let me go ahead and just erase this right there. Because we're given the area as 25 square feet, I will plug that in right there. So the area is 25, and that's going to give you, that's going to be equal to side times side. So everybody, what's going to go ahead and be the side here? It's going to be 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. So my side equals 5. There we have it, my party people. And what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and plug that in. Side equals 5. And so the perimeter, the formula for perimeter, help me out, everybody. Perimeter is equal to what for a square? 4 times the side. I love the quickness there. I love it. Yes. And so 4 times the side, all we have to do is plug it in now. So the perimeter, my big old head's in the way, isn't it? So the perimeter is equal to 4 times 5. Everybody, the easiest question of the day. 4 times 5 equals what? 20. 20 what? 20 feet. Correct. 20 feet. And there's our answer. And there it is. So if you want to take a picture, go ahead. I'll break my neck real quick for you. But there it is. Who's feeling a little more confident about this? Hey, right on. What's up, Brittany? Erlinda, Mario. There we go, Jose. There we go, Jillian. Carrie Ann. That's what's up. That's what's up, Kevin. Anna. That's what's up, man. Frederick. Me. Shane, Faith. I love it, man. Luiki. Neely, Montaja. It is pretty, it may feel pretty easy, but we have to take a look at problems that might not line up perfectly with exactly what we've been doing. Because I told you, it's not just about knowing how to do a specific type of problem. It's about being able to break down word problems. So without further ado, next, go. Yes or no? Same question as last time. Yes or no? Were you able to create a solid plan that makes sense to you? Were you able to make a plan that makes sense to you? That's all I care about. It's all good, Judy. So yeses or nos, again, be honest, because again, this is a different problem. I expect it to be harder. I expected it to be harder. I expect you to struggle, but through that strife and struggle, we'll get better. So with that said, let's take a look here, man. Let's take a look. So let's ask the question, what's the question? That's step number 1. Step number 1 is what's the question? And it says here, if you need to paint a rectangular wall, don't worry about the numbers. If you need to paint the rectangular wall, how many cans of paint do you need to completely cover the wall? So with that said, everybody, assuming that one can of paint can cover like this much wall, then another one cover this much and that much. Everybody, is it fair to say that what we're asking is basically how many cans of paint will fit on the wall. Is that technically what we're asking here? How many cans of paint will fit on the wall? Yeah, that's what we're asking. What we're asking is how many cans of paint will cover the wall? How many cans of paint can we fit on the wall? That's what we're asking. Now we need to translate what the hell that means into math, right? we need to translate what that means into math. So this is where I'm going to blow some minds now. So in the story is having us see how many of these cans of paint do we need to cover the wall, how many we can fit on the wall. Everybody think about the math behind those words. When we're asking how much of this can fit inside of something else, what operation are we doing? Not perimeter. What operation? What operation are we doing? If we're asking how many of one number can fit into another number, it's not area perimeter, guys. You're thinking you're using way too narrow of thought here. We're not talking area perimeter. We're talking division. Area is included in the problem, absolutely. But the goal, the main overall plan is division. We are going to divide how much wall we have by how many cans or by how much paint each can covers. Think about it like this. If I told you that I needed to make a savings in my account, if I need to have a savings account of, let's go ahead and say something easy here. I'll go ahead and say $30, right? Let's go ahead and say that I need to create a savings balance of $30. Everybody, if I told you I'm saving $10 every day, how many days will it take me to get to $3 or to $30? And it says 3. Who agrees? If I'm trying to build a savings account to $30 and I'm saving $10 every day, it'll take me 3 days, right? But how do we get that 3? 30 divided by 10 gives you 3. The totality of everything, the $30, the totality of the wall, divided by how much each can covers, divided by how much I save every day, gives me how many days. In that case, here it'll give you how many cans. Is this starting to make a little more sense, everybody? Is this starting to make a little more sense? So the goal of the problem here is to divide the wall by, so the wall area divided by the can area. That's the goal of the problem. Divide the total amount of wall that we have by the amount of wall covered by each can. That's the goal. The only problem is we need to figure out what the wall's area is. We need to figure out what each can's area is. Once we have that, then we're in business. So let's take a look at the information that we have here. Let's take a look at the info that we have. The info that we have says one small can covers 20 square feet. Oh, word? Cool. One can equals 20 square feet. Look at that. Okay. This seems pretty easy so far. And then they tell you that the rectangular wall is 25 feet wide and 8 feet high. Oh, okay. Okay. 25 feet over here, 8 feet tall over here. Everybody, is it going to be pretty easy to find this area of the wall? Is it going to be pretty easy here? What do y'all think? How are we going to find that area, everybody? What's the area again of a rectangle? Hit me up with it. That's right, Anna. 25 times 8, length times width. That's right, Kevin. 25 times 8, that's going to be it. So the wall area is going to be the 25. And use green here to be consistent. 25 times 8. Everybody, what's 25 times 8? It's all good, Kayla. Thanks for letting me know. So yeah, it's gonna be 200. That's right. The area of the wall is gonna be 200 square feet. Shame on y'all for not including units. I'm looking at you specifically, Kevin, since you were the first. But yeah, it's gonna be 200 square feet. It's gonna be 200 square feet. And so with that said, everybody, do we have what we need here? Think about it. The whole wall is 200 square feet. And what we're looking for with every can that we have here, and me try to use a different color here, every can, 20 square feet, 20 square feet, 20 square feet. We're basically seeing how many of these we need to cover the whole wall. Are we starting to see that now, everybody? Are we starting to see how this is coming together? Divide the whole area of the wall by how much each can covers. And when we do that, Anna perfectly stated, when we divide the 200 square feet by 20 square feet, so again, this right here is the wall, this right here is a can, and that's going to give you 10 cans. That's how many cans you need. That's how many cans you need. And it'll make even more sense when you check your work, because if you think about it, what does it say? So if we have 10 cans for option B, if we have 10 cans, each of those cans covers 20 square feet. Everybody, 10 times 20 is what? 10 times 20 is what? Hey, Frida, that works too. Oh, no, that's perimeter. No, that's perimeter. That wouldn't work, because we're talking about area here. But to get back to the point here, yeah, if we have 10 cans and each of them covers 20 square feet, that's going to be a total of 200 square feet that all 10 of those cans can cover together. And so what was the area of the wall again? 200 square feet. So it naturally makes sense here that 10 cans would be 200 square feet. So does that make even more sense to anybody there? Oh, so Frida, I wouldn't think about it as adding or multiplying. I would think about it as perimeter area. What idea are we talking about? Because when you know what idea we're talking about, then that'll lead the way in terms of what operation you're doing. But if you start with what operation and not what idea, that's where I can definitely see where it can be a struggle for you, for sure. So I'm glad that you guys tried that one out. I'm glad that you guys didn't give up on that one too easily, because again, these are the types of problems you want to be able to do. You know, I don't want to tell you, oh, you guys are about to see 5 plus 5, and then give you the question and you guys all go 10. No, I want to give you a problem that maybe you're not totally equipped for, but if you apply the strategies that I've been teaching you, you'll be able to handle things like this with a little more candor and much cool level head. So we got one more problem to try out before we head out for the day. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So what should the area of his new rug be? Everybody, if we're saying that we're going to find the area of the new rug, the wording here is pretty implicit, right? Because if the problem is asking us for a new rug, is it safe to assume that somewhere in the problem we're going to be talking about an old rug? Yes or no? Yeah, like if we're talking about the area of the new rug, we're probably looking at information of the old rug. So allow me to go ahead and take over here. So what should the area of the new rug be? So the question here, area of a new rug. The question pretty much gives it away. Area of the new rug, sounds good. Now the only question we're asking is, hey, well, what is the shape? What are we dealing with? And if you skim the problem, Jalen needs to exchange his area rug. This rug was 4 feet wide and 3 feet long. Once it arrived, he realized it was too small, so he measured how much larger and knew what it needed to be. And so, because this problem doesn't directly say rectangle or triangle, but it does give you 4 feet by 3 feet, that right there implies that it's a rectangle. That implies that it's a 4-sided shape. If they tell you this by this, that is a rectangular shape. You are safe to assume that it is a rectangle. So this rug, 4 feet wide, 3 feet long. So in the given information here, we're dealing with a rectangle. And it's safe to assume here that, hey, with the information that's given, we can say that it was 4 feet wide. And it was 3 feet long. Now, one of the ways that you may have been confused here is if you would have swapped out the modifications accidentally. Here's what I mean by that. It says here, once it arrived, he realized it was too small, so we measured how much larger a new one needed to be. The new rug needs to be twice as what, everybody? Twice as what? Help me out. Twice as what? Long or wide? Twice as long. So what are we multiplying by 2, everybody? The 3 or the 4? Which one are we multiplying by 2? The 3, exactly. Long right there, long right there. We need to multiply this by 2 to get the new to be 6. And then it says 4 feet wider. So we can safely assume that that'll be right here. Plus 4 to get 8. So we have 8 feet wide, 6 feet long. And since we're looking for the area of a rectangle, everybody, is it safe to assume that we're looking at length times width? Is that safe to assume? Cool. We're done. Because all we have to do is plug in the 8. Whoops, wrong place. Almost messed myself up there. And so we'll plug in the 6 for the new length and 8 for the new width. And so everybody, 6 times 8 gives us what? Include the units. Anna, you're the first one up. Anna, what are the units? 48 what? Square feet. That's right, 48 square feet.